Welcome to week 2 of Code Sprint B. So at this point, Code Sprint A is done, the final grades are in, you've gotten feedback from me on your final projects, and you've gotten feedback from your peers on your final projects. And one thing that I want to say is just generally for the whole class, you all did a great job with your final projects. You were able to accomplish a ton in such a short amount of time in this new territory that you don't have experience with, which is React. So take a second this week to just sort of pat yourself on the back and recognize what you were able to achieve as you're heading into Code Sprint B. And so Code Sprint B, we'll talk about it more next week, but the final project for this class is going to be something with Cloud Firestore, working with the database. So that will be, you can either take your project from Code Sprint A and bring it into Code Sprint B and add the database component to it in this class, or you can start something fresh. And we'll kind of talk about those two paths and what's expected of what is expected of you in both of those paths. So if you're starting something new, the expectations are going to be a little bit lower in terms of the styling and layout and the React stuff that you have in there, because you won't have worked on it already for a couple of weeks in Code Sprint A. So let's talk about the material for this week. So Code Sprint B, the first week, you learned more about functions, you learned about promises, and how to deal with code that is asynchronous in nature, which is essential to working with a database in general. We're going to be having our React front end talking to this database, and that connection between those two things takes time, so it has to be asynchronous. So this week, what you're going to learn is how to take all of that knowledge that you built last time that was promises in regular JavaScript and bring it into a React project so that you can build something that can hit the Pokemon API, so you can sort of type in any Pokemon, hit search, and information will pop up. So you'll be building on what you did last time, and then you will also be learning, we'll take our baby steps together into Cloud Firestore. So you will learn how to grab something from a Cloud Firestore database and put something new into a Cloud Firestore database using just regular JavaScript. So again, we're going to do the same pattern this week where we'll learn it in just JavaScript without React, and then we will bring it into React world. And the reason why we're doing that is because the concepts involved with talking to the database are really just they're JavaScript. They don't really have anything to do with React. And then we can, once we've built solid foundations, we can bring those into a React project and feel confident using those in sort of a more complicated application. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the canvas together. So this week you got the overview page, which lays out, which has this video and lays out the assignments for this week. And then there are 3 here. There is one where you're working with the Poka API in React, one where you're learning about Cloud Firestore, and one participation assignment, which is sharing a post-mortem to the Teams channel. So I want to spend a second talking about this one. These two are pretty self-explanatory. But a post-mortem, okay, so some of you may already be familiar with this concept, and we use it a lot in game design contexts, but I also like to apply it when we're talking about sort of design and development of any kind of product. So a post-mortem is where we take a second to reflect on what went well and what could have gone better in a project. So this process of doing a project and then critically reflecting on your ability and your workflow is really key to you actually growing and improving over time. The more you're able to recognize and do more of the things that went well, and the more you're able to recognize the things that didn't go well and improve them, the faster you will move, and the more sort of ambitious things you'll be able to do. So I have a post here that you're going to read that is on game development postmortems, but it's general purpose enough to apply to our contexts. And then you're going to head into Teams, and you're going to make a formatted post that'll look like this, where you've got at least 5 bullet points of what went well and 5 bullet points of things that could have gone better or things that could have been improved. And one framing thing that I want to sort of point out that's really important is that anything is fair game for what went well and what could have been improved. So things that could have gone well could have been time management. So you set aside the right amount of time and you did it in sort of like nice chunks throughout the week. That is totally something that you can count as something that went well. That could also conversely be something that went poorly. Like maybe you didn't have good time management skills in the first 5 weeks of the semester and you were just overloaded with classes and you didn't set aside regular chunks of time. That could go under what could be improved, and then when you recognize those things, you can take them forward into the next project if they went well, or you could improve and reflect on them critically if they went poorly. Okay, so that's the postmortem. That's the material for this week. The solutions from last week will be posted under this link early this week. And aside from that, good luck, and I will see you at the optional class on Friday.